Hey guys, we're not riding today. We're actually going to be riding this weekend with a buddy of mine, just so you don't think I ride alone all the time, and I don't have any friends, which would kind of suck. No, today I wanted to talk about a couple of magazines, cycling magazines, that I really like, that I think you might find interesting. There's tons of cycling magazines out there, and they're all great, and they all serve a purpose, but most I think are more consumer driven. You know, product reviews, lots of advertising. They're there to sell you gear. Nutrition tips, things like that. And those are all fine. But I'm more interested in people's stories and really good photographs and not being sold something all the time. Maybe being sold more of an idea, and that idea being to explore your country, your state, your city, anywhere on two wheels. And these two magazines do that for me. The first one is called Broken and Coastal. This is a relatively new magazine. It hasn't been that long. They've only got 2 issues available right now. In fact, they're both out of print. You can read them online, brokenandcoastal.com. It's great. Adventure cycling, some mountain biking, people's stories, camping on your bike. It's really great, really well shot, well written, and it's not advertising based. And I really like that about that magazine. The second one has been around a little bit longer. It's called Boneshaker. Now this magazine, I believe, is based in the UK. It's a designer's dream, really well designed, great typography, beautiful photographs. Just like Broken and Coastal, it's more adventure based, a little bit more on the racing side, fixed gear, criteriums, things like that. But again, people's stories, really good photographs, really nice writing, and a pleasure to read. Boneshaker is available for subscription, I believe, and you can also find it in independent bookstores. That's based in the UK. I'm not sure if they allow or if they will ship to the United States, but I do know you can find it in bookstores. I found it. So you can check that out. I've got links to both of these magazines in the comments section if you want to check them out. I just think these are really worth your time, great reads, and enjoyable books about cycling life. Less about gear and nutrition and fitness tips and, you know, the latest kit to own and things like that. And again, that stuff's great, but for me, I'm about people. And I'm about adventures. I'm about exploring. And I think that these two magazines do that for me. One other thing I want to mention is the Tour de France. Now that started this past weekend and it's on now. Again, the tour is one of those things, it's very boring sometimes. It goes on for 3 weeks and maybe too long, but there's a lot of drama in this race. Every year you think it's going to be a bore fest. It turns out to be extremely dramatic. And for those of you who don't watch bike racing because you don't think it's a sport, go watch this race. At least just watch the highlights. It's available on NBC Sports here in the States, Eurosport overseas, and you can watch it online. You can follow it at cyclingnews.com. They've got a live feed. There's news. There's all sorts of video you can watch to catch up. Tons of action in the last week of the 3-week race. So if you don't watch the first 2 weeks, you probably won't miss much. You'll miss some drama, but you won't miss much of what actually matters in the long run. But for those of you who don't think this is a sport, the Tour de France is the hardest 3-week event in all of sports. It's the only sport, pro cycling is the only sport that I know of where people can die on any day. Now, outside of boxing, I don't know another sport where you're looking at it and think, that guy could die. You know, cycling's rough. I mean, these guys, pro cycling in Europe is one of the most unhealthy things you can do to your body. And these guys do it without question. They were born to do this. And it is a tough event. And again, it's worth your time. It's worth watching. In fact, today in the race, you wouldn't think anything was going to happen. One of my favorite riders, Peter Sagan, was kicked out, was disqualified for throwing an elbow. Now, you throw an elbow in the NBA or in the NFL, okay, they'll call a foul, maybe a flagrant foul, give you a technical, you might get a fine if it gets really bad, but to be disqualified from the event, to get kicked out entirely so you can't compete anymore, that's rough. I mean, they don't take any BS in the tour. So anything could happen on any day. And again, it's really worth watching. So if you don't want to take your time and watch that, that's great. I just thought I'd mention it. because the tour is something very special to me. When I got into cycling, the tour was one of the first things that really just kind of made me fall in love with being on the bike. Now, I'm not a racer, I'm not a wannabe pro cyclist, but I do enjoy watching these guys race around France. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, that's it. I'll be back shortly with more riding, and I hope you guys are enjoying the videos. I'll see you guys soon.